What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. It is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. We're coming to you from a little earlier in the day. It's about 11:30 in the morning on the left coast as we're sitting down to record this. This is Weekly Skews. I'm Trey. That's Mark. How's it going, Mark?
Good, man. I've been so before we get to the show, I wanted to talk about we talked briefly last week about the family of Americans who moved to Russia to get away from woke, and then the dad would join the army and was worried they were going to get deployed from the front lines. I find the story very gripping, Trey. I'm gripped.
Sure.
So to update you what's been happening since then, the family's called the Huffmans. The dad's named Derek. I don't know what they're going to have this guy doing in the front lines. They've treated him so disrespectfully. I feel like they're going to have him like checking minefields, like by wearing snowshoes and walking across them. So I would just hit the vibe here. I want to play the family has a YouTube channel. If you got this video, Matt, I want to play like the first like 20 seconds of it or whatever. They got a theme song that I want you guys to hear.
Yeah. A lot of thought, creative effort went into, obviously, what you'll understand when you hear it.
I do Jim start, and have a big balloon with big loving hearts. Start, mama, dad, big girl, and the dog bark, woof. Now, we're living the truth. Huffman, together we stay in Russia. The sun shines bright every day.
And, okay, Huffman, something runs the family way or whatever. In Russia, the sun shines bright every day. No, it fucking doesn't.
No.
Who told you that?
Like the whole thing I thought with Russia is that it doesn't, I thought it was, kind of a more a general grayer existence over there. But maybe that's Western propaganda, Mark, that I've bought into. And on that note, like I was actually going to ask, like, do you think they being Russia or whatever, like, do you think they view this guy and his whole thing as a potentially effective propaganda campaign in that way, or are they like embarrassed by this, or what? Like,
I don't see. We'll get to that in a second because I think what happened is so this family's clearly trying to be like either Christian YouTube influencers or like get like a Discovery Plus show like Chip and Joanna Gaines, like in Russia, Kate plus John and Nate or some shit, right? So they moved to Russia through what Russia calls their shared values visa scheme, which is like supposed to attract foreigners who reject what Putin calls quote destructive neoliberal ideology. And they settled in a quote American village, a settlement in a town called Istra, which is like 20 minutes outside of Moscow, which was created by a U.S. expat and blogger by the name of Tim Kirby, who's lived in Russia for 2 decades. This American village was founded in 2023 for Americans fleeing what Kirby described as, quote, liberal gender norms. But only 2 families, including the husbands, are known to have moved there. So they live in this ghost town version of Disney Celebration for people who are mad about there being a black Cinderella or whatever.
Right.
So
specifically naming gender norms as the reason you uproot your family and move across the globes, in particular to a place like fucking Russia, is a whole different kind of political derangement or whatever. To me, it's like I can't imagine other than like the fall of democracy or some legitimate rise of fascism or something. That's the type of thing it would take to make me consider that type of move or decision. And like you said, the fact that for them it's because Mr. Potato Head became androgynous or whatever happened that time, and they're like, we got to get the fuck out of here. It's just insane.
So the funny part is this is the second place they fled to. They originally started off in Texas. They fled to Arizona first because Texas had got too gay. Then they fled to Russia because Arizona's too fucking gay. Okay.
Right.
And so they said that their final straw, let me quote here from the mom, or no, sorry, this is from Derek. The final straw is when we found out my daughter Sophia learned about lesbians from a girl in her class. So a classmate of their 12-year-old mentioned that sometimes there are lesbians, so they fled to Russia.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's absolutely crazy. Not even the teacher. Also, it's like lesbians do exist,
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess to these people, I don't know, they think they don't. It's some kind of mental illness or whatever is what they think. But either way, it's just the acknowledgement of the existence of lesbians, and not even from a teacher, but from a fellow 12-year-old or 11-year-old or whatever who are known to, kids learn a lot of wild shit that they didn't know about before on the playground at school and stuff. And, to respond to that by taking them to Russia is, that's a bit much, seems to me.
Another detail of the story, the wife had apparently been sober for 3 years, but has started drinking again since her husband joined the army. So this motherfucker moved his sober, alcoholic wife to seasonal Depressionburg in Vodkistan.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you asked whether Russia found this guy annoying. I assumed he'd been drafted into the Russian military. This motherfucker enlisted. So I think they probably could have been a useful propaganda guy, except that he enlisted in the Russian military, which is going to suck for him. And the reason he enlisted was because he wanted to earn his citizenship and acceptance in his new mother country, unlike how he put it, those damned illegals in the United States. So this guy's going to die of right-wing propaganda.
Right.
But he joined the Russian military because he wanted to earn his citizenship by service, but he assumed they'd let him he's a welder by trade. They assumed he'd use him as a welder, so he thought he'd get special treatment in the Russian military, even though everybody else is being used as cannon fodder. So he probably thought they would just let him be a YouTuber in the military, but they wanted him to be a YouTuber living in this fucking fake town they invented for American expats. And so the last thing he's going to see in the Russian military, which he would join to get away from gay people, is extremely gay American-made missile and a bright flash of white-hot light.
Yeah, also, I just feel like trying to play, it's I don't know, it's very on brand for these people and how they treat a lot of things. The idea that, he's like, no, I want to sign up, earn my keep, but also with, the understanding in your head that's like, but, I mean, you're not going to make me fight or anything, right?
Right.
I could just sort of, help make posters or something like that. But that's still, but I'm going to serve. But as long as I'm in absolutely no danger, and it's like, that's not, that's not how that's supposed to work.
While we're deporting people who did join the United States military and served in combat to try to earn their citizenship. So, fuck this guy, fuck Russia, fuck everybody. I don't know what to say. It's like, God damn it.
Heard that. All right. Well, let's continue. But first, I've got some things to remind you of course. If you'd like to see me do stand-up comedy live and in person, please go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. Thanks to everybody who came to the Comedy Store in La Jolla down there in lovely San Diego this weekend. It was wonderful. This weekend I got Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City. Then we got Indy, Austin, St. Louis, and a bunch of other places coming up after that in the fall. So go to TreyCrowder.com and check it out. There's still a link on TreyCrowder.com to my most recent special, Trash Daddy, which you should watch if you haven't already. If you want to hear producer Matt's new audio exclusive called Good Skews, Matt does his best to highlight some good things happening in the world being done by good people, and also gives you a little insight into the man of mystery that is producer Matt himself. You can listen to Good Skews only on the audio version of the show, which means the podcast feed, if you don't know. And lastly, if you enjoy this show and want to support it, you can do so and get some more of it in your life by signing up on Patreon on weeklyskews.com/more, or you can go to Patreon and search for my name. Either way works. $5 a month, get 2 full-length bonus episodes. We just finished up another Q&A where we answer your burning questions. Other than that, we just do additional episodes of the show. So, yeah, if you like the show, you'll like that, and you'll help support it in the process. Okay, we hope you'll consider signing up on Patreon. Now, as for the show tonight, we got a bunch of stuff. We're going to run down the, all the latest in the Epstein situation and the propaganda wars and stuff. And then we've got some nice, upsetting ICE war crimey type stuff coming up at the end of that. But before any of that, we begin as we always do with the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD, jet-setting kid touchers for making this guy so mad he almost cussed. This is my home state's Representative Tim Burchett.
I would give everybody a caveat, or that's a big word, but a warning that just because somebody flew on a plane doesn't mean they're a dadgum pedophile. But I would give everybody a caveat, or that's a big word.
Dad burned it. Yeah. I love
Dad
that.
gum pedophile.
I love that he started that by apologizing for using a big word, too. You know what I mean? He's like,
Yeah.
he accidentally said caveat, and he's like, I'm sorry. A warning. And then let me get back to my folksiness. Yeah, we've got a real clown show of motherfuckers in Tennessee at present. Between him, Ogles, fucking Marsha Blackburn, the governor, Bill Lee, just all of them.
Yeah, it's almost like you get the government you deserve in a supposed democracy. So I never, all the words I thought I hear in my lifetime before pedophile, dad gum was not one of them. and like, also like he apologized for using the word caveat when he didn't warn people and watching Sunday morning television that he was about to say pedophile. And he's saying, like, it doesn't mean you're a pedophile because you flew on a plane, which I guess is good news considering Trey's and the amount of Delta miles Trey has. So this whole thing is gotten so fucking insane and crazy. They just, like, there were 12 Republican defectors who joined the Democrats to try to pass a piece of legislation in the House to, like, release all the Epstein files. And Mike Johnson shut down the House and sent everybody home for summer recess to try to give, he said, to give the administration space to figure out how they're going to handle this. I'm like, how to handle being honest or not? Right.
Yeah, that move is funny to me because it's like, I don't know how to put this exactly, but it's like them being like, we're not saying on the record that we don't want it released. We're just saying that we refuse to openly consider whether or not we want it to be released. You know, like the idea that it's saving face by refusing to even vote on it because you don't want to have to vote yes or whatever is kind of silly to me because it presents effectively the same stance at the end of the day, or it should, like it's obvious what you're doing.
It's also like, this is like the most, like, I have gone from thinking like, okay, well, like I always thought the real scandal here was how accepted Epstein was in these circles. That people just didn't want to, like, that people who sexually abuse children are far more accepted in like Martha's Vineyard and Mar-a-Lago than they are in your average prison. Like, I always thought that was the fucking scandal. These people are willing to tolerate a level of depravity in exchange for money and social access that the rest of us, like, because Epstein was convicted in like 2008 or whatever. They kept hanging out with him. So like I always thought that was a scandal. I've gone from assuming that's how Donald Trump was in these files to assuming he's the only person in the fucking files. This has gotten crazy.
It look bad. Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild.
They so today they announced that they were going to like that Trump's DOJ is going to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell to for the first time to ask her what she knows, and they're treating this like it's a good thing, like no one's ever fucking asked him before. Let me walk through a sequence of events here. So the guy the DOJ is sending to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyers, Todd Blanche, who before he worked for the DOJ was Trump's personal attorney. Okay. So they're going to meet with Ghislaine to discuss potential cooperation deals. Let me walk through the sequence of events here, okay? Ghislaine Maxwell has an appeal pending before the Supreme Court. She delayed her appeal until Trump was inaugurated. Trump's DOJ has twice delayed their decision about whether or not they were going to defend the appeal, and they finally filed their response on Monday. That day, her defense attorney, a guy by the name of David Marcus, insinuated that Trump was reneging on a deal he had made with Ghislaine Maxwell. The next day, Wall Street Journal printed the birthday card story, which we're going to get to in a little bit if you guys haven't heard about it. It's fucking wild. Then the following day, Pam Bondi fired Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, who was the prosecutor who had prosecuted Maxwell and Epstein and was handling his case. And she's the only one who'd be competent to judge whether Ghislaine Maxwell was actually cooperating or not. So imagine what's going to happen now is Ghislaine Maxwell is going to get a sweetheart deal to incriminate somebody who's not Trump. And we're all supposed to buy this as a fucking cover-up.
Right. Yeah. And that will come with no release. It's just trying to give them like anything, right? Is the idea. It's like that finally they'll be like, well, we're here. This is it. We're finally something is happening, and then it'll be just one little piece of it, or like you said, just what it was. Look at Clinton or whatever. Ghislaine said it was Clinton, and then please just ignore all the rest of it now from this point forward. But
and we're supposed to believe they weren't running a blackmail operation, but she's going to release dirt on people to get herself free from fucking prison.
Right, but I just don't. Again, everything about it has just been so weird from the beginning. Or not, I don't know about the beginning, but like the whole way, especially just the past few weeks, week or so since they came out and said, "Oh, there's nothing to it," and like just everything about how they've handled it with there are no files. I've got thousands of files. They're on my desk. We're poring over them, relentlessly. And, we're going to have it later. And then later, there are none. Oh, there are, but they're made up. But they're not. But we're going to use them to prosecute somebody. It's all just so like circular and none of it feels like it makes any sense, which I mean, that by itself is not that weird coming from this administration. But with this particular story, it's just kind of mind-boggling how poorly the whole thing seems to have been handled. Like, I don't know. It's wild.
I can't if you're a conspiracy theorist, one, everything you believe is sort of coming true right now, except for the fact that you believe these people are super organized, and this is so fucking stupid and clumsy. That this is how real conspiracies are. They're just obviously right there in front of you, and it's infuriating what you're looking at. And this birthday card thing, man. Dude, if you guys, so last week, I think it was Thursday, the Wall Street Journal reported that the letter with Trump's name on it, which had been compiled into like a leather-bound book by Ghislaine Maxwell for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday party. Like she spent 2 years compiling these birthday cards into this gift for him. Very thoughtful, I gotta say. So
it sounds like a keeper, that Ghislaine.
Talk about a ride or die, man. Jesus Christ. So this leather-bound volume contains an outline. The letter from Trump. It's basically a typed-up letter, which Trump drew the figure of a naked woman around with tits, and his squiggly signature making pubic hair on the figure of a woman. Okay, and the typewritten text describes an imaginary conversation between Trump and Epstein, and the note started voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Okay, Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey, nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald, we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. Fucking vomit, dude.
It's wild. We know when Trump's PR people or publicity people, whatever, when they first heard about this story, they were probably like, "Oh, he wrote him a birthday letter." Well, that's not good. But I mean, how bad could it be? I'm sure it's not egregiously cryptic and lascivious to the point of being almost comical if it wasn't stomach churning and upsetting, right? I'm sure that. Right? It's not like that, right? They're like, yeah.
How do you say you're a pedophile without saying you're a fucking pedophile? This is exactly the birthday card I would write.
Crazy, dude. Calling them each enigma. The sign off is it's like shit out of a movie or something. It's wild. May every day be another wonderful secret.
What are the rest of us supposed to? This is so fucking weird and gross. This is like. So Trump filed a lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal for publishing this, and the lawsuit's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever read in my entire life. Like any law, the lawyers, the quality of the lawyers Trump has working for him at this point is this is the dumbest guy who bought his law degree on the internet. Okay, let me quote here. Bullet point number 16. The article was published in the Wall Street Journal as an exclusive. However, since publication, defendants have widely disseminated it to hundreds of millions of people worldwide. They're saying the grounds of the lawsuit is that not just the newspaper printed it, but that people read it.
Right.
They said it's exclusive, but they let people read it. That's what the fuck are you talking about? And the Wall Street Journal is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News and a bunch of other publications that there's probably no single person in the world who's done more to get Trump in power than Rupert Murdoch. Right.
They've been not for nothing. This morning I briefly turned on Fox News just to cure out curiosity, and they were talking about Hunter Biden's fucking whatever dick laptop interview. I don't know, but they were, that's what they were covering. So I'm saying plenty of Rupert's stuff, still seems to be holding the line out here. Whatever happened with this WSJ article.
Yeah, and the idea, also Fox News, I saw just the people that keep count of this shit. 118 mentions of Barack Obama for reasons we'll get to in a minute, but 2 mentions of Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
the amount of people, like, I was trying to think about what work was like, the Wall Street Journal newsroom on Thursday. Because, like, the amount of people that think that reporters just walk in and print whatever they want in a fucking newspaper is wild to me.
Right.
There's no doubt to me that there were screaming fights up and down the chain of command at the Wall Street Journal on Thursday about whether or not they could go to print with this. Lawyers yelling at people. The amount of sourcing they would need to feel comfortable with this, like whatever anonymous sources they have, the editors know who the sources are, and they're comfortable printing this. They're comfortable putting this in print against the most powerful man in the world, who the Supreme Court has told him can kill his enemies. Right.
Yes, and who's incredibly vindictive and litigious and all of that too. Like, there's going to be a response, and there already has been one. Yeah, I know, but that's what you get when you start this whole culture of just being able to call shit fake. You know what I mean? The whole fake news thing, which he started from the very beginning. Like, so you could say, it's like you said, people don't know. They do think you could just a newspaper can just decide to just print anything, or they don't know about journalistic standards or integrity, or don't care, or just think the journalists don't care, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, the last thing anytime someone got one of these stories wrong was Dan Rather, and he lost his fucking career over it. It was like supposedly documentation of it, like relating to George W. Bush's National Guard service, and like the document turned out to be fake, and Dan Rather was just like fired from his job and just tweeted from that on the rest of the time. And like that case is held up in newsrooms and journalism classes as an epic mistake you do not fucking make. You triple and confirm. So like, where do we think this came from? There's only 3 possible places it could have come from to me. Well, 4. The DOJ, the American intelligence community, a foreign spy agency, or Ghislaine Maxwell, right? And the foreign intelligence agency will be whoever that Ghislaine and Epstein were supposedly working for. So everybody thinks Mossad, right? So I don't think Mossad would do this, but like you probably need in the current context, but you probably need 2 or 3 of these people to confirm it. So probably Ghislaine's legal team and the DOJ, it's like some of the DOJ confirmed this was real before they'd feel comfortable printing it. And so I think probably it was Ghislaine's team leaked their copy of it, because like what happened next was Daily Mail got a hold of a similar letter that Bill Clinton sent to as part of this leather-bound collection of birthday cards. So somebody's saying, I got dirt on all you motherfuckers. So what do you want to do about it? So yeah, I think it's probably Ghislaine's team confirmed by somebody at the DOJ who would have confiscated this when they seized all of Epstein's shit. New York Times also, anybody getting out over the skis to defend Trump over this has to do with the fact that whoever's leaking this stuff is slow rolling a story that they're telling. And these newspapers probably have much more fucking dirt they haven't been able to confirm yet, right? So New York Times has a story late last week saying, let me quote here, when Mr. Trump hosted a party in Mar-a-Lago for young women in a so-called calendar girl competition, Mr. Epstein was the only other guest. These guys just a 2-person teenage beauty pageant.
Right. Yeah, nothing weird about that. You know what I mean? Like, that says so many different things, I feel like. It's like, you don't do that to somebody who isn't either, like... So basically, and I've been trying to... Full disclosure, I'm trying to do a video about some of this stuff, and this came up in it, and I was thinking about how a couple of years ago, I got given all-access passes to a NASCAR event, right? And I could take one person. And I knew exactly who I was going to take immediately, and I took one guy, and I picked him, A, because he's one of my best friends in the world, and B, because he really fucking loves NASCAR, right? Like, that's his shit, NASCAR. Like, I wouldn't have picked for that type of, special event, just like some dude I used to buy weed from or something years ago. I wouldn't choose that guy to give that to, because that wouldn't make any sense, unless I thought maybe if I did, it would incentivize that guy to give me access to his illicit catalog or something. You know what I mean? Like, hook me up in the future. Like, there's only a few reasons to do something like that. It either means you're boys, or you've got like a symbiotic, relationship going that seems to revolve around young girls, Obviously he knew Epstein would really appreciate that. And he was like, Epstein was the number one guy that came up when he thought, who do I bring? The one guy I bring to my young, scantily clad young girl party. That is a totally normal thing to have.
If you got offered 2 tickets to the Masters, you'd take Corey because he loves golf. You wouldn't take me.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So the Times source for this is a guy named George Harani, who was a Florida-based businessman who's the one who set up this fucking event. I guess he owned the teenage modeling agency. And so Harani recalled being surprised that Epstein was the only other person on the guest list. Quote, I said, Donald, this is supposed to be a party with VIPs. You're telling me it's just you and Epstein? See, this guy even thought it was weird at the time. This is like... To me, this is obviously pretty scandalous, but in normal times, like it's pretty frustrating because nothing gets turned into a scandal anymore because nobody in power acts with responsibility, right? Like a newspaper, people are like, why doesn't this stuff stick? But no one tries to make it stick. Like a newspaper's report stuff, the DOJ just shrugs at it, and the opposition party fucking shrugs at it. Here, Nancy Pelosi fucking said she went on TV last week and characterized the Epstein scandal and the seeming cover-up as, quote, a distraction from kitchen table issues. My God.
I can't imagine that level of like tone deafness or whatever. Like it's truly almost inspiring how incompetent these people can be in terms of like messaging or seeing opportunity or any of that stuff, you know, like it's wild.
I don't know how to explain to these people this is a kitchen table issue, not in the, just in the sense that everybody around every kitchen table in America is discussing this shit right now because it's the biggest story in the fucking world probably. But also, it's a fucking elite impunity thing. Everybody in America's pissed off fucking constantly. Rich psychos get away with bullshit, and you're watching rich psychos get away with bullshit, and Nancy Pelosi's fucking shrugging at it because she doesn't get how mad people are. Mm-hmm. It is a kitchen table issue. This is just like your boss fucking you out of fucking overtime. It's the same story. They're so goddamn bad at this, man. I want to watch this clip of Amy Klobuchar on the Sunday morning show over the weekend, which is like... everybody go get a new jobs, man. You guys are so bad.
True, the president says there, Democrats didn't really seem to do anything about the Epstein files throughout the 4 years of the Biden administration. I mean, should you have? You sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Marsha Blackburn for years has been trying to get flight records and other information about Epstein released, and she seems to have been the only one on that committee trying to do so.
So the president blaming Democrats for this disaster, Jake, is like that CEO that got caught on camera blaming Coldplay, okay? Like, this is his making.
Dude, you can fucking tell by her shit-eating grin that whole time Jake Tapper's in that question. She written that line.
Yeah, right.
Somebody written it for her.
Some staffer or whatever already served that up to her. And she'd been looking forward to getting that up there all day. So proud of that nugget. Got a good sound bite out of it.
Dude, either if you're gonna talk about it, be angry. They're fucking real human victims here, but like don't like be clever about it. No one gives a shit about your fucking cleverness right now. Fucking just cool, okay? And so, what before he's gonna try to frame Bill Clinton, well, not frame because Bill Clinton probably get up to some dirt here, but like the first attempt at this was like. They tried to like release these fake, well, they're not fake documents, they're real documents. They're framing if it's fake, where the Barack Obama's arrest is imminent because he committed treason against Donald John Trump. And here's a video, an AI video that Trump put on Truth Social of Obama getting arrested in the White House. I don't fucking know. You can't play the music because it's copyrighted. It's a YMCA, of course. But there's FBI agents forcing Barack Obama to his knees in the Oval Office.
And with the caption, "No one is above the law," which is, you know, deliciously ironic.
Yeah.
I know he's used that a million times, and it's always feels that way. But yeah, it's just truly something. I feel like that's how you know that they're pretty desperate for some kind of distraction that'll like work or whatever. Because this is like literally page 1, chapter 1 of their playbook. This is the thing that made Trump's name in politics. Is, you know, making shit up about Barack Obama or going after Barack Obama. You know what I mean? Like they're going back to the well, to old faithful with this one. It's like, you know, because they need something. It's like, you know, we need something guaranteed to get people back on our side. Let's get them pissed off at Obama again. So yeah, so they come up. I know you're about to get into it. They produced like a memo that said.
Yeah, but like it's like they released like 200,000 MLK documents related to Martin Luther King, like which is like if you wonder. If you start seeing a debate online about whether or not Martin Luther King was a good person because the FBI recorded him cheating on his wife a bunch, and maybe there are documents where the FBI agents who hated Martin Luther King, who they recorded something like a sexual assault in their documents, their version of overhearing the wiretaps. So like you're about to see a debate on the right about that because they really dumped all these documents. One of the reasons you wouldn't dump all these documents because there's a bunch of out of context shit in them, and so like I've been skeptical that whether or not like even releasing all these Epstein documents will lead to any sort of like actual truth of the matter because like cops write down everything anyone tells them or they hear.
Right.
It's not just the things they think are true. So. They release more documents like Hillary's email server. They're gonna get down to the Teapot Dome scandal next with some unseen documents about those. And as far as the Obama stuff, I'm trying to figure out what's even alleged, and it's so fucking stupid. So time traveled me back to 2016 after Trump was elected before he took office. The intelligence community produced a couple different reports. The first one said that no, Russia did not hack the election, the servers. All right. Mm-hmm. Then they released another reports that they did meddle in the election. They tried to influence the outcome of it in favor of Donald Trump against fucking Hillary Clinton, which is we all saw Trump waving around the WikiLeaks documents that got hacked from the Clinton campaign on stage. They're basically trying to conflate the two things. They put out a new statement saying that Russia did not hack the election, so Obama was lying when he said they tried to influence the election.
Mm-hmm.
See what's happening here?
Yeah, but didn't they put out another different whatever intelligence memo from further along that disagreed with the assessment that they had meddled, but it's like a semantics argument that doesn't really mean anything, but they're using it, they're pointing at it to say like, look, this is proof that they were lying about, they tried to lie to undermine Donald Trump's presidency by claiming that Russia stole the election for him, and we have proof that that was never true, when it's like that was never explicitly claimed in the first place. And like I said, the proof, quote-unquote proof that it's not true is more of a semantics argument than anything. So it's just
this is why
bullshit.
That's why releasing source documents doesn't necessarily get you closer to the truth, and let's try to understand what you're looking at. Because what they do, they make a habit of this, is they release these narrow technical documents that most people won't understand.
Right.
They surround them with a bunch of inflammatory innuendo, then hand them off to gullible rubes who will falsely claim this is the biggest scandal, the biggest scandal in fucking history just dropped. But yeah, what you're talking about, to understand what happened recently, the change is, okay, the CIA released a, quote, internal tradecraft review. They analyzed the intelligence community assessment that had been released in early January of 2017, exploring one single line in that initial report. This internal tradecraft review, the report in January 17 included a line saying the intelligence community believed, quote, with high confidence that Putin and Russian government aspired to help Trump's election chances. So the original report used the term high confidence, while the NSA, the high confidence was sourced to the CIA and the FBI, while the NSA had, quote, moderate confidence. So this new tradecraft review simply focuses on whether or not it was justified to have used the term high confidence when it also used the term aspire. Because can you have high confidence as someone aspired?
Right. And so as a result of that, Barack Obama must be shackled and brought to justice before the American public.
Right. I used to have like these when I worked with newspaper editors who get like, because reporters, they're writing up real fast on deadline. I'll say somebody was like nearly electrocuted, and an editor would fuss at them because you can't be nearly electrocuted. You're either electrocuted or you're not. You're shocked, and you're shocked if you get hit with electricity and don't die. Electrocuted means you're dead.
Yes.
Right. It's like, so it's kind of like being pregnant or not pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. So. Mm-hmm. The CIA is having an internal argument of whether you can have high confidence that someone aspire to do something. So basically what we're learning here is the CIA has also done Operation Paperclip for grammar Nazis.
Right.
And now we got to put Barack Obama against a wall and shoot him.
Yeah.
This whole thing is so fucking stupid, man. I don't know what to do about it.
All right, we're switching gears a little bit. I got an honorable mention for Daily Dumbass. People who don't realize the reason Hamas must be destroyed is because they want to defund the police. This is BB on the Nelk Boys podcast.
In New York City, right? What's going on?
Yeah.
The anti-Semitic guy.
Yeah.
The highest population of Jews in New York City. How's that even possible?
Well, it's possible because a lot of people have been taken in by this nonsense. I mean, what? You want to defund the police? You want to have people go into stores and, rob them and be free? You think that really creates a good society? You want to crush all enterprise. You want to tax people to death. I mean, that's a one-term effort. But, sometimes you have to get mugged by reality to understand how stupid that is. So that's
okay. This is deeply funny to me for a lot of reasons. One, Netanyahu hasn't done a legitimate interview with real media in a long fucking time, and I was going on the Nelk Boys podcast.
Right.
And they're trying to bait him to turn the New York mayoral election into an international referendum on Israeli statehood, which is what the U.S. media is doing. And he pivots to, these damn woke kids want to raise your taxes, which is what the election should be fucking about.
Right. Yeah.
So he's trying to do American culture war bullshit, but doesn't quite understand it. But do you understand how stupid this is? Are you familiar with the Nelk Boys?
No, I mean, I've heard of them, but I don't know that. Don't know that much about them. They're part of young white guy right wing griftosphere thing, and
they
adjacent
pivoted to that
and shit and stuff.
Yeah. So the three most popular episodes so far, I don't know if Netanyahu's going to crack the top three, but were Elon, Mike Tyson, then Donald Trump. Okay. They started off doing prank videos. They're Canadian dudes who now live in LA, I think. But the type of stuff they got famous doing, they do stuff like go in a bookstore covered in fake blood and ask if they had any books on crime scene cover up. Okay.
Hilarious.
They once
I get it.
almost got arrested because they ran up to a cop in LA and told him that they'd found cocaine in the backseat of a car. They told him they found coke, and it was cans of Coca-Cola. And the cop was like, if he had been on camera, probably would beat the shit out of these dudes. And that's one kind of police violence I would have got on board with.
Yeah.
But how humiliating is this for fucking Netanyahu? This is if back in the 80s, Robert Mugabe and Kim Jong-il had gone on a morning drive time radio show hosted by Squeaky and the Jizz or some shit.
Yep.
You're a fucking war criminal wanted by the International Criminal Court, goddammit. Have some fucking self-respect. I want to quote here. This is an actual exchange that these two dipshits had with fucking Benjamin Netanyahu. Guy named Kyle, what's your go-to at McDonald's? Netanyahu, no, I'll take Burger King. We did the double. Kyle, the Whopper, you like Burger King over McDonald's? The other guy, I think his name's Stein, he goes, that's your worst take.
Genocide stuff I can excuse, but claiming Burger King is better than McDonald's, that's simply egregious. I'd almost rather, well, I don't even know. I was going to say I'd almost rather these dudes just talk to him about Burger King if they're going to talk to Bibi Netanyahu at all. But it's why is that even happening in the first place? So.
And here's them. They got so much negative feedback they had to hop back on their stream. And here's their take after they finished recording with Netanyahu.
It's a good point. Someone said having Netanyahu on is like having modern day Hitler.
No, I saw that.
Which is honestly, guys, I'll be honest. I'm here to. It's a good point. We're here to fucking learn, to be honest, guys.
So
good. It's a good.
They actually got a bunch of negative backlash. They had other streamers on. They had Hassan Piker, who's a left-wing Twitch streamer, and Nick Fuentes, who we talked about before, is a fucking Nazi, who both told him it was a bad idea to have Netanyahu on. And Hassan Piker also informed them, these two dipshits didn't know, that propagandists also got hanged at Nuremberg.
Right.
So part of the reason they're apologizing because they realized they could be on the hook for war crimes now.
It's funny to be a lot of people compared that to us interviewing Hitler, and you're right. You're right. But,
we're listening. We're learning.
We're listening. We're learning. Yes, we have our open minds, open hearts. But yes, we did sit down with modern day Hitler, and
they asked him about
you'll have that, bro.
Yeah. So Putin does this shit ways in American culture war shit all the time too. But watching Netanyahu do it's so funny because Israel's a country with national insurance that covers trans healthcare, and he's going on the guy's podcast to talk to Americans, be like, seems in America you guys got pronouns everywhere nowadays. Shit's wild. Fucking shut the fuck up, man. So, he's one reason he may be weighing on the New York mayoral election. He might have a vested interest in this. Is Andrew Cuomo is on his legal team to defend him against his war crimes trial at the ICC. And Netanyahu's also supposed to be standing trial at home for corruption, but his trial keeps getting delayed. Last time he was supposed to testify at his trial, he bombed Iran, so he couldn't do it, right? He was busy.
Yeah.
This time,
he does the Nelk Boys podcast.
No, well, he went on the Nelk Boys podcast, but he informed the court back home that he couldn't do because he has food poisoning.
That's even funnier. He gave him a different excuse, telling the International Criminal Court or whatever you can't make because you're like deathly ill or whatever it is, and then their like 19-year-old son is like, "Hey, I think." Is this him on the Nelk Boys podcast?
He told
son of a bitch.
So no, not the International Criminal Court. His domestic. He's supposed to. They're trying to remove him from power for being the most corrupt prime minister in fucking Israeli history. And he said he couldn't testify because he had intestinal inflammation resulting from eating spoiled food. Sorry, I can't be removed from power for corruption today. I have diarrhea and also have to go on the Nelk Boys.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So
2025, baby.
So let's talk about some, more domestic goings on, and with our ongoing fucking roundup to eat as many people as we can out of the country randomly. It seems. Here's Greg Gutfeld to set the vibe for how we're going to talk about this in this insane country.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Hilarious. All right. So this motherfucker's so dumb he doesn't know Nazis already did this, kind of. The word Nazi was a slur in the 30s and 40s. It was basically the German way of calling somebody like a Cletus or a fucking dumbass. Nazis would have never called themselves Nazis, but American Nazis are so stupid, they took the term, they've already defanged it from its original meaning, which wasn't evil, it was fucking stupid. So, but also, I guess they think that, being a Nazi is like skin color. I guess it is sort of like skin color, except, they think you were, it's inalienable equality, like you were born a Nazi, so it's a slur to call you it or something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's also a big problem with I'm not saying anybody could have sold that, but Gutfeld just kills me because he's like he's their comedian over there. He's their comedy guy, and it's just he just doesn't have an aptitude for. Also, his writers are bad, but it's anytime he does a little riff or bit or whatever, he just don't sell it. It just doesn't. No one laughs charmless. Really. It's weird. He's charmless. It just plays as odd and off-putting most of the time, and it makes it 10 times worse. I can picture a comic doing that bit in the third person, pitching that idea. That's what Nazis should do, and Shane Gillis would murder with that because he's charming. Right. Gutfeld's utterly fucking charmless. So yeah, if you present it as hey, you know what they'll be doing before long, and then you do it that way, that it is funny. But coming from that perspective and with his delivery and from that source, it just. Had a very different feeling to it because people watch that they're not laughing at Joe. They're also the idea that we should do that they'll just all be calling themselves Nazis in the near future. But I mean, 3 years ago on this show, we showed that clip from CPAC where they opened with the line, "We are all domestic terrorists." Do you remember that? So I mean, not even that new of a thought. With he has the most popular show in network in late night by ratings wise, but unreal. You watch a clip of his show, and the studio audience doesn't even laugh. His own people, I know, it's so fascinating to me. I'm on the road all the time. I'll have to turn on my hotel TV, and it'll be tuned to Fox News. And it's after a show, so it's at night, and Gutfeld's on, and I'll be like, well, let's see that, and I'll watch it for a little bit. And every time, again, I have just this morbid fascination with it as a comedian, because, they have a studio audience of people who agree with everything they're saying. And those people don't laugh they bomb in their own studio in front of their own audience on their own show, and the ratings are through the roof comparatively speaking. It's really disheartening if you're me. Right. Honestly, I wanted to talk about a few of the more farcical examples of ISIS's recent evils, because this is this is objectively funny, but not in a fucking it's so incompetently executed. If it wasn't a cost of human lives and altering the course of people's existence for the rest of their time on this planet, it would be the incompetence of it would be fucking hilarious. At first, I want to talk about this guy from Allentown, Pennsylvania, 82-year-old grandfather by the name of Louis Limon, who's from Chile, been here 37 years. He went to court in Philadelphia, an immigration office, because this is
I'm trying to talk about this vaguely because like ICE denies all this in a much more committed way than they usually do. So I think there might be something hinky here or some messed up. It might be just some messed up paperwork. But either way, this guy's in Guatemala now. So his family's version of the story is he went to the Philadelphia immigration office because he lost his green card, not because he was here illegally. He just lost his wallet. Right. So he went to get a new green card, and his family hadn't heard from him since June 20th. I haven't seen anything other than the lost green card about his legal status. The family says he was handcuffed by 2 officers who led him away without explanation. His family made repeated inquiries to immigration officials, prisons, hospitals, and even a morgue. Couldn't find anything. Lewis's name was not listed in ICE's online database of detainees. At one point, somebody called their house, according to them, and told them Luis had died. But it turns out he's alive in a hospital in Guatemala, which you need to emphasize is not Chile.
Right.
It's not clear if it's a mistake that he's in Guatemala instead of Chile, or they did that on purpose, or whether it's a mistake that he's fucking left alive. He has pneumonia. He's on like a ventilator.
No, dude, that's crazy to think about. That your 82-year-old papa, could just need to go through some, rote bureaucratic process to get a government document replaced, like losing your ID or something like that. So he goes to, the immigration office just to say, I lost my wallet, so I don't have a card. But I have a card. I just don't have the physical one. I need a new one. And then you might never see him again, or that he literally disappears and no one can tell you what happened to him. And then they tell you he died, but no, he's not dead, but he's in a totally random country. And he's got pneumonia and all that. And it's like, it's wild that something like that can even happen, and these types of things happen every day in Donald Trump's America.
I'm open to this all being some misreporting or a mistake or something, because the fucking Guatemalan government on Sunday denied that he was even deported there because there's no record of an official transfer, even though he's there. So I guess ICE just mailed him there in a box, which they were nice enough to poke air holes in. Here's the real punchline to all this, okay? Luis was granted political asylum in 1987 after surviving torture at the hands of the Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet, who we fucking installed. So he fled a dictator we empowered to come here, and I guess once you get here, you can have asylum because, my bad, you've reached base.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you gotta touch base, you're safe.
So I guess if we do a coup in Guatemala now, by that I mean another coup, by my count it'll be our third in Guatemala, at least we'll know that it's because the CIA has made it its mission to destroy this one guy's fucking life. So Trump administration started deporting people to countries other than their own, which you already knew. We knew about El Salvador and South Sudan, but now they've got a new one on the list, the African kingdom of Eswatini, which I'd never fucking heard of.
Right. Yeah, that's a deep cut there.
It used to be, Eswatini is an absolute monarchy. It used to be Swaziland until 2018. I had heard of Swaziland, so I'm not a complete moron. I just didn't know they had rebranded.
Me neither. And I don't know anything about it either. I just literally had heard that name. Also didn't know they changed it. But go ahead. How are things going over there?
So, Eswatini is ruled by a king by the name of Mswatini. He's Mswatini III. He has 11 wives and a bunch of luxury cars, and his people live on an average of $4 a day. So
tracks.
Yeah, so judging by his lifestyle, if the whole king thing doesn't work out, he has a real future as a influencer. He could go on the Nelk Boys and hang pretty well, I guess. So Eswatini has been severely affected by HIV and has the highest prevalence of HIV in the world, with an estimated 26% of the adult population being HIV positive, according to the United Nations. It had made significant progress in confronting that, but has been highly reliant on foreign aid to do so, including assistance from the U.S., which has now been cut by the Trump administration. So if you look at anything according to an organized plan here, they have destabilized Eswatini by cutting off support for their help fighting their AIDS epidemic. And now, in exchange, have offered them whatever we're giving them to take people who are not from Eswatini, who we're just shipping there to fucking, I don't know, live or be imprisoned or get AIDS or whatever. So,
right. Because that's how that we pay these countries to take these people, right? We have some sort of arrangement with them. So, so they were getting aid money from us anyway. We end that and then say, but we got there. Here's a way we can give you some money if you do that. If you take these, random Vietnamese and Chilean people that we round up and send to fucking Eswatini to do what? To get what? What do they when they go to one of these other countries? Like when they go to Eswatini, like is it like an El Salvador like prison situation, or nobody even knows? Yeah, they just.
I mean, like if they're smarter than us, they will be welcoming to these immigrants to help build their fucking country. Mm-hmm. The opposite of what we're doing right now, right? So like, so a couple years ago, I forget. To more immigration fuckery, let's talk about CCOF for a second, because we're familiar with what's going on in El Salvador to some degree. A couple years ago, when we were doing the whole prisoner exchange with Brittany Griner for The Merchant of Death, the right-wing ecosphere was super up in arms. They thought it was an unfair trade because I guess the only exchange we could make for Brittany Griner would be we had to find some other person to ship back to Russia who we detained on trumped up fucking drug charges and imprisoned just to have leverage over Russia. The only way, we were joking, the only way for us to like do that is to become evil and imprison innocent people to ship to Russia.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We don't, at least used to, didn't do that type of thing here. So, you know.
So, let me read here from a story titled We Were Kidnapped. On Friday, more than 200 Venezuelans who we had disappeared to a mega prison in El Salvador were returned home. Quote, we got a beating for breakfast, we got a beating for lunch, we got a beating for dinner. That's a quote from that baker from Dallas who got sent to CCOP because he had a tattoo. The tattoo was an autism ribbon in dedication to his brother. These Venezuelans were released as they were back to Venezuela as part of a prisoner swap deal to get 10 Americans back. So, the Venezuelan government has imprisoned foreign nationals to gain diplomatic leverage like Russia did with Brittany Griner. So we imprisoned 200 Venezuelans and sent them to El Salvador to get leverage to get those 10 Americans back. This is the exact same fucking thing that we made fun of the right suggesting we do for Brittany Griner, and we just fucking did it. This is the shit Vladimir Putin does.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, that checks out because, Trump loves that shit. He loves that strongman dictator stuff and's been seemingly trying to model America after their example for a long time now anyway. So it checks out.
Hunter Biden did a podcast interview yesterday, which everybody did. Where he talked about the details of cooking crack, and he insulted leadership of the Democratic Party. Everybody's like focused on like the takeaway from it was like that he shit on people for backstabbing his dad, talking about cooking crack and whatever. But the context was talking about immigration in Abrego Garcia and what's going on at CCOT. And he was like saying the Democratic Party is because they were polling data says people are mad about illegal immigration. They're focused on Abrego Garcia because he has a solid paperwork legal case instead of the inhumanity of the shit going on at CCOT and call them all fucking losers instead of standing up for immigrants in general because they're too cowardly to do so. And they're focused, and he's fucking right.
Oh no, I thought the clips I saw from him, I was like, damn, Hunter Biden spitting.
Right. He was like, who do you think fucking washes your dishes? Who fucking folds your laundry? Right. Who fucking does your gardening? You fucking... He's like doing all this stuff. Who cooks your food? And he's like... Which is like... I hate to focus on the fact what do these people do for you materially, but like the idea like they contribute more than most people that are in fucking Congress.
Absolutely. By a mile.
And they're focused
but
on
those
like...
people in Congress and shit who are actively behind this, they go a step... They have like, they have their own, like, whatever, maids, servants, nannies, that type of thing. Or, like, if they have construction projects and that type of shit, they employ them. Or if they have land or ranches or whatever, they're... and I don't know if if they just think, yeah, well, I can keep mine somehow. Or
they all thought that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, there's a reason the ICE crackdowns are focused on California. They're not running at people with meat packing plants in fucking Idaho and shit. Mm-hmm. So they kind of are doing that. Yeah, it's just like anyway. If you haven't seen the Hunter Biden stuff, I would. If you're just seeing people's takeaways of it, they're focused on the inter-party fighting of it and not the moral message of it, which is that people are acting like fucking losers instead of standing up for the humanity of immigrants. And when I talk about like the inhumanity of this shit, the sheer amount of stuff that's coming out about these detention facilities. So, Human Rights Watch has a report about what's going on in Miami-Dade County, 3 different immigration jails. People are shackled with their hands tied behind their backs and made to kneel to eat food from styrofoam plates, quote, like fucking dogs. That's according to this. This reports from 3 different facilities. They're doing this. This isn't like one guard on the lark. This is like a systemic thing they're doing in Miami-Dade. They're also withholding medical care and cranking up the air conditioning to the point one guy said he thought he was going to get fucking hypothermia. The hypothermia thing. So we're cutting funding from all this different shit to the point where like a lot of jails don't have air conditioning at all.
Right.
But this one jail with air conditioning, and they're turning it on so high, spending more electricity to torture people by making them shiver. While we're also keeping people outdoors in Florida, just outside of Miami-Dade, at the stupid alligator Alcatraz place. And so we're intentionally heating, cooking people to death at alligator Alcatraz while freezing people to death at fucking Miami-Dade.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's, it's like they often say for a lot of these people, the cruelty genuinely is the point. When you talk about the people that work in places like this, I'm not saying they're all like that or whatever, but it definitely attracts a certain type of person, and and they get off on this type of thing. They can get away with it, and it it like thrills them. Some of like it's literally like a hobby or a pursuit, like sadism. They're sadists. I think plenty of them really are, and they dehumanize the people they're doing it to. They don't see them as being human either. So that's also part of it. Now, to me, it's like, okay, but if you do that to a fucking animal, that's fucked up. Do you know what I mean? Like mistreating it. So even with dehumanization, you're still a fucking psychopathic piece of shit on 2 levels in that case. But it's just a lot of sicker people out there than you want to admit, I think.
Yeah, we just detained a guy, talking about the cruelty being the point. We just detained an Irish guy for 100 days in prison. He had overstayed his visa by 3 days because he was in the hospital with a medical emergency. He was planning to go home. He wasn't trying to get up to anything. They just held him to hold him. And I know that some private prison plane made bank off of it, but if you're doing anything other than that, you got to fucking explain it to me. If you're just, because you're doing it for the money, fucking war crimes tribunals. You got to go to prison for a long time. Mm-hmm. And like you start going through the details of these cases. This newspaper, sorry, let me click on the link. Miami Herald got a hold of the story. They talked to 7 immigrants who were, they got them on the phone inside alligator Alcatraz, trying to get to the bottom of how they ended up there. One guy was a chef in a celebrated, like a Michelin star restaurant in Miami. Another was an aspiring DJ. Another guy was here on an Italian passport who was already trying to leave the country. Like he was literally on his way to leave the country. He was driving in an RV with his wife and their daughter. They're planning to drive through California, cross New Mexico, and drive through Central America to Argentina, which is his home country, even though he has an Italian passport. But they pulled him over for having expired driver's license. He had an arrest warrant out for an expired driver's license. The reason he hadn't gone to court to fucking renew his driver's license was so he wouldn't get snatched and deported. Mm-hmm. We're creating paperwork criminals by forcing them to default on other fucking paperwork. Another guy by the name of Castillo, I think he was the chef, said he was handcuffed and left outdoors in the sun as a punishment for attempting to go on a hunger strike. And he was eaten up by mosquitoes. They tied him up outside to be swarmed by mosquitoes for trying to go on a hunger strike to protest inhumane treatment.
Mm-hmm. The beatings will continue until morale improves. That'll show him.
And like the politicians running this place are much bigger criminals than immigrants they're locking up. The DeSantis administration is staffed in this facility with private correctional officers who have not had to submit to fingerprinting, pass a physical exam, or pass background checks. So sex offenders with club feet we're fucking hiring. They also suspended truck safety laws and portable toilet permitting rules. So if you want to shit on the ground beside a truck that isn't street legal, fucking come on down. The governor even he gave himself and his aides freedom to hand out no-bid contracts, paying overtime to senior managers, and buy boats, planes, and cars. So if you want a state-issued Maserati to chase people who work at car washes, come on down and sign up, baby. They fucking the facility they're using as alligator Alcatraz was seized using emergency powers because DeSantis couldn't get the county to agree to sell this airport to them after they made a lowball offer. They stole a fucking airport to do this. They stole it.
Yep. Doing crimes to be as awful as humanly possible. That's, you just don't stand in their way. That's the message. We're going to do what we're going to do. We got designs on crimes against humanity, and by God, nothing's going to stand in our way. But anyway, that's it for us. We're out of time this week. Thanks for being here. Real quick, go to TreyCrowder.com. Come see me on the road, do stand-up, and you can also watch Trash Daddy. There's a link to it on there. Go to our audio feed, the podcast version of this show, to get the audio-exclusive Good Skews from producer Matt. Check that out. And consider signing up on Patreon, weeklyskews.com/more, or search for my name on Patreon. $5 a month, 2 full-length bonus episodes. Consider it either way. You keep coming back on Skews Days. We will too, and we'll be back in about 7 days.